looked at the third roll of toilet paper I decimated that day and shuddered at how much mucus could come out of one person. I blew my nose again, then went to the medicine cabinet and brought 6 bottles out, measuring this morning's dosages. Keppra, 1 250 milligram tablet twice daily. Helps, epilepsy. Side effects, bipolar type 2. Lamictal, 3 50 milligram tablets twice daily. Helps, bipolar type 2, epilepsy. Side effects, random lottery of the following: anxiety, hallucinations, euphoria. Folic acid, magnesium, iron, chewable gummies. Helps, blood issues. Side effects, nausea. I eyed the optional medications on the shelf dedicated to my meds, then took Advil. Helps, fever reducing, body aches. No side effects. I tossed the handful of pills in my mouth and swallowed. Then I asked my brother to drop me off at the college. I had missed 2 weeks of school due to his persistent cold. I fucking hate that I can't pretend to be a normal college student when I catch a cold. I dizzily stumbled over to my anthrop professor's office. She swiveled around in her chair and immediately furrowed her brow. Why are you here? My Japanese professor didn't believe that I could be sick with a cold for 2 weeks, so I came by to drop off my doctor's note and homework. She suddenly touched me gently on the cheek and neck, and I inhaled her perfume. Something citrusy. In my fever delirium, I smiled at her and muttered, "Your hands are so soft and nice and cold." I leaned in her touch, her cold hands reminiscent of the gentle touch of the nurses of my childhood. She laughed a bit, then rested her hand a moment longer on my burning face. "You know you're sick. You shouldn't come and infect other people. I could tell you have a pretty high fever. Call someone to bring you home." I called my brother, and she watched me talk to him, slightly amused at our native English, the hybridized Japanese English that we grew up speaking. Then the oaf finally made it to her office. She saw us off, and I walked into the wall. She barked at my brother, "Support her!" He grabbed my arm and walked us to the car. I shivered all the way home. We got home, and Dad wasn't back from work yet. I wandered into the kitchen to heat up a bowl of chicken soup, grabbing the vegetables. Then I burst into tears as I dropped the ladle into the pot. My brother got me to lie down on the sofa, brought me a bowl, and pushed my dogs off so I could eat in peace. I had 3 bites of the veggies, took my evening pills a bit early, along with a shot of NyQuil, and hobbled off to my bedroom to sleep. The sun wasn't even down yet. I woke up suddenly in my dark bedroom, and my anthrop professor was there as some sort of Disney-esque villain, yelling at me to drink water. Sparks of vivid green danced and turned my hallway into a labyrinth. I dodged the mushrooms, foliage, and chattering flowers as I climbed the terrain, and I saw a shadow dart away. I found the dark hole that led to my unlit bathroom. I had fallen asleep to the Disney radio on Spotify, and this shit was terrifying. The paralysis set in on my legs, one of the keys of a pre-seizure state, but I was able to crawl into my bathtub, then fell semi-unconscious with the faucet running. I opened my mouth and drank in the trickle of water, trying to kill the fire in my body. My dog wandered in, howling, licking my face, trying to get me to wake up. Chewy had learned over the years to alert everyone to my seizures and mental state. She usually bites my hand to get me to settle down or headbutt me into holding her if I'm crying. I slowly regained consciousness, just enough to hit speed dial 1. Dad. He answered his phone, part groggy, part irritated, but after hearing me groaning on the phone and my dog barking, he ran. I slipped back into unconsciousness as I heard him barge into my bathroom. At some point, the blood that was coursing through my body was more like molten lava. Everything hurt like hell. Every body part was either paralyzed or on its way there. My father tried to ease me down the stairs, but I started screaming in pain. We had to stop midway so I could projectile vomit. All the water that hot hallucination professor told me to drink ended up being useful after all. Chew is prancing in panic, howling. "Get the blankets!" Dad shouted. He and my brother were former military, and they both snapped back into it for maximum efficiency. My brother, armed with whatever blankets he could find, helped my dad prop me up into the computer chair, and they got me squared away. Military lingo for gently tying me down. I began convulsing and seizing again, so they carried me into the garage, ignoring my screams so I could be put into the car. My brother told me afterwards that my dog was inconsolable, keening, howling, making so much noise that he was concerned enough to hold her until they fell asleep. I didn't remember much, except for the fact that I kept slipping in and out of consciousness. My dad blasted the Foo Fighters to try to encourage me to sing along. Hell, to get any sort of reaction from my favorite band being blasted at what the fuck o'clock. This is a journey we made once a month, whether it be my migraines or seizures, the life of the chronically ill, epileptic, disabled person. This time, it was different. This time, it was a matter of life or death. My dad sung softly along. I was too weak to give in and too strong to lose. The Foos, as we affectionately called them, were our band. My dad and I, we were a team. Once, when I was in the hospital for an epilepsy study, all I had was them to keep me company. Another time, when we drove through California from Chula Vista to San Francisco, with all the windows in his car open, singing along to the Foos at the top of our lungs, and we'd just stop and laugh at how horribly windswept our hair was. As Dad raced down the 805 this time, the highways are empty, an eerie sort of silence permeated. The dark before the dawn was usually when I'd be playing video games, procrastinating on homework. Not flying through the highways of San Diego in all of its eerie, foggy silence. Dad sped on, trying to erase the poisoned blood that coursed through my veins. A nurse came out to meet us because my dad had to bum a wheelchair, and she was very alarmed at how out of it I was. My body, the inside, burned. Turns out that epilepsy medication and NyQuil don't really mix. Dextromethorphan, a common ingredient in cold medications, metabolized my medications at a rapid rate, causing an overdose. Something that only happens in a few patients that take my specific mix of meds. I was rushed inside, and my dad was told to try to keep me awake. We devised a simple way to converse. 1 blink, yes. 2, no. Did you take your medication? 1 blink. Did you eat anything in the past 3-4 hours? 1 blink. Do you want something to eat now? 2 blinks. Do you know where you are? I tried to make an exasperated face, but ended up slowly blinking once, and he laughed because he got me. The nurse murmured to my father to keep asking me questions to try to keep me awake. He smiled as I kept my eyes tightly closed. He pat my hair, unbrushed for a few days, matted with sweat. I barely feel it. I yearned for some control over my body so I could at least lean into his touch or something. We moved shortly afterward into the ER sickbay. It takes 2 nurses to transfer me into the bed. They restrained me, then put a catheter and an IV bag of drugs in to get the medications out of my system. I could feel my spirit coming back to me, and I finally sleep after the nurse presses a bit of Benadryl into the fluids. My grandfather came by to say hello and extended his hand to me. I grabbed it, and we go to a secluded corner and start dancing slowly, my feet on his, like we used to when I was a kid. He's been dead for a while, so slightly alarming. He held me tightly, and all I remember was being an 8-year-old in Japan. As we danced, we had small talk. Nothing I could remember distinctly, but I remember a sense of calmness. He reminded me that it wasn't my time just yet. My darling. He'd smile at me as he twirled around one last time. The cacophony of the emergency room died down to a melodic hum of the heartbeat monitor, and as I hugged him once more, then let go, he kissed me goodbye. The first thing to greet me is the noise. The beeps of my heart reminding me that I'm still here. My father's gentle snores, his hand holding mine, and the doctor's calling to me. I open my eyes and wake up, and suddenly, lights.
That was Alix Sharp.